Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a new Naxos recording in its American music series devoted to orchestral works by Gregory Fritze. Now, Fritze is a tuba player. He was a tuba player in the Rhode Island Philharmonic for quite some time. He's a teacher who's fairly well known, and he writes a lot of music for a variety of forces, including for band. And actually, he kind of sounds like a band music composer, even when he's writing for full orchestra. That doesn't mean he doesn't know what the strings are doing, but he gives a lot of emphasis to wind instruments. And it makes his music interesting, actually, for the most part. There are 4 works here. So let us take them one at a time, shall we? First, the London Overture of 2022. It was composed for the London Symphony Orchestra, which plays very well on this disc, led by Rafael Sanz-Esprit, a very capable conductor. So, I mean, everybody's up for the job. Now, the London Overture, well, let me put it to you this way. His music is tonal. It has good tunes and interesting ideas, as often as not. It seems to be formally somewhat diffuse. And the London Overture is a case in point because it stops and starts and stops and starts and stops and starts. I mean, that's sort of a pretty good facsimile of how it goes. There were so many times when I thought that it was over and then it would start up again, and but it was very enjoyable to listen to. And it's only like 8 minutes and 46 seconds long, but the stop and starty part makes it seem kind of longer. So, I mean, I don't think it was a great work. It's an occasional piece, and it was charming. Fritze spent a good part of his career in Spain near Valencia, and his music reflects the influence of Spanish music that he picked up. It doesn't sound Spanish like Falla or Granados or Albéniz or any of those people. I mean, if you listen to it, you wouldn't necessarily say like Spain. But his Spanish works do have this sunny quality about them, which, you might relate, and the rhythm, which is quite infectious. So first we have here A Day in Valencia from 2022. This is a 4-movement symphony. The titles are Sunrise over the Mediterranean, Workday, An Early Evening Walk, and Late Night at a Fiesta. Now, Sunrise over the Mediterranean is a little bit funny because it shows, I think anyway, that Fritze has spent a little bit of time paying attention to the lever du jour in Daphnis and Chloe, with the clarinets going, and the tune comes in, and it's like, The difference, of course, is that Rafael writes an absolutely gorgeous tune, whereas Fritze just keeps going, but it's broader and very effectively done. It's quite cinematic, actually. And I mean, that's what we sort of get these days from modern tonal composers, whatever they call it. It's cinematic. Then we have Workday. Workday is a rondo with episodes that are very, very widely contrasted, including, solos for things like, contrabassoons and double basses and things like that, tubas, and they're fun. They're really fun. But again, the rondo form, because of the contrast between the rondo theme and the episodes, is a bit like the London Overture. It's stoppy and starty. An Early Evening Walk is largely a tuba solo, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember this correctly, having heard it 2 or 3 times. And Late Night at a Fiesta. Well, it's, Late Night at a Fiesta. It's quite festive, and the ending is brilliant. And it goes on for a little bit too long, but that's okay because it's enjoyable. It really is enjoyable. Okay, next we get a little tone poem called Waterplace Park, which is in Providence. And it's an occasional piece that does what you think. I mean, it's a, day at the amusement park sort of thing. And it's quite charming and full of color and rhythm and vigor and very enjoyable. Finally, we have his Sinfonía de Valencia. Another Valencia symphony in 3 movements, beginning with The Castles, which is really one of the best things on the disc. It's atmospheric and it's impressive. It really is. Then we've got La Tomatina, which is a wonderful, You know, there are all kinds of European festivals, let me put it to you this way, where people run around doing stupid things. Like, there's this Polish festival where they all, like, squirt water at each other. And then, well, this is when, and there's the running of the bulls, of course, just, a bit of insanity that's sort of iconic. Well, this is a fabulous festival where people run around throwing tomatoes at each other. And it's quite raucous, and I'm sure he captures the spirit very, very successfully. I mean, I'd like to go see the one where they throw pumpkins at each other, Anyway, last but not least, there's a pastoral and the mountains, which is it's cyclical in form, by the way. Some other things come back. So you've got a lovely, lovely pastoral episode with a big, imposing, as in the first thing where you have sunrise over the mountains. It sort of does that again and ends with a blaze of orchestral glory. Really fun. So, I mean, I perhaps don't give this quite the seriousness that it deserves or that Fritze intended, but, the music, it's fun. It's enjoyable. And maybe that's enough for now. We'll wait and see how it endures and what other performances it gets. I don't think it's terribly original, but it's well written, and I enjoyed this, and you very well might too. Brass players and percussionists, you definitely want to hear this. There's all kinds of good stuff, and then really colorful writing for the orchestra, which I admire. I really do. I admire that very much. So, all things considered, I think this disc is a success. The question is, of taste, of whether you like it or not, is going to be an individual thing. Try and sample a little bit and see what you think. And keep on listening. Thanks for joining me, friends. Take care.